being understood and feeling loved is almost indistinguishable, like the
Mm.
feeling of it. It's like so close.
Mhm.
So what I really want is for you to understand me because I mean,
Mhm.
ultimately, I think we all just want to feel loved. We're yelling at each other
Right.
because I just want you to love me the way I need to be loved.
Right.
Right? So if I could slow down and embody so what does it mean to speak for your parts or embody self-energy? It means I'm being careful and slow enough because I really want you to understand.
Welcome to Self-Led Love with me, your host, Bahia Miller. Together, using the powerful framework of internal family systems, we will take on the spiritual and oh-so-human curriculum of becoming radically responsible for our parts and how they show up and grow up in intimate partnership. I'm so glad you're here. Let's dive in.
All right. Welcome, friends. Thank you for being here with me and our guest today, Seth Kopald. Welcome, Seth.
Thank you for having me, but yeah.
Yay. I'm so excited and grateful that you're here. And I'm going to read your bio. I know you as the Wizard of IFS personally. To me, that is your bio, but I will read your professional bio, which Seth is a certified level 3 internal family systems practitioner and presenter. He holds a PhD in organization management with a specialization in leadership and a master's in education. Seth is an experienced IFS training program assistant for levels 1, 2, and 3. He has been on Dick Schwartz staff for multiple retreats and facilitates his own retreats and workshops. Seth is the author of the book Self-Led, and his specialties include spirituality and the mystical side of IFS, exquisite attunement, self-led parenting, communication coaching, leadership, and parts art. He is known for creating spaces where people's parts feel safe and understood. That's why I like you so much. Yeah. Yeah. So Seth and I'll just briefly say Seth and I met in cyberspace in a IFS practitioners group that we were moving forward together, a group that he created. And yeah, it's a new friendship, but it's felt like instant ease for me. My parts feel
Yeah.
really good in your presence. So
Yeah, same here with you.
yeah, thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you. So let's just give our guests some stats. Let's just kind of land here together first. Want to tell us where you're coming in from?
Yeah, I live in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and been doing this for a long time. Since
Mm,
2012 is when I did my level 1. So it's been a number of years.
yeah.
And, been a full-fledged practitioner since 2017. For a while there, I was using it in schools. I was a head of a school for a while. I was consulting with Head Start programs and using IFS there too. And
Mm,
as of 2017, I started seeing individual clients and sometimes groups and
beautiful.
lots of parenting work as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was so excited that you agreed to be here with me because so much of your work is this relational, like taking IFS and using it, but then taking it outside of ourselves, which I feel like is really where the rubber meets the road
Yeah.
is, yeah, this internal and external
Yeah.
intersection.
Yeah, and I would say even at first for me, I mean, instantly IFS grabbed me because it's like, "Oh, I'm not this anxiety, I'm not this worry," and I was
Ugh,
able to find relief really quickly, but the
mhm,
notion of, "I have to do this alone, like, myself is the one," that was a little hard for me for a while because it was like I
mm,
really my parts desired connection and because all of my wounding was from lack of connection and lack of attunement,
mm,
so it makes sense why I've devoted my whole life to attunement.
mhm,
And as I developed an IFS, I realized the more healing I've done to myself, the more I even am open to connecting with others. And I realize how much I block being helped my
mm,
whole life. And so I really think the purpose of IFS in my world is one, that you feel good in your own skin first,
mhm,
but not just so you could be alone, so that you
mhm,
can actually be with other people, be in community.
mhm.
You know, how do I feel comfortable in the presence of others? How do I help others and be helped? How do I
Yes.
love and be loved? And to me, that's the biggest, that it is where the rubber hits the road. It's how I'm in relation with others. And when we're protector against protector, it doesn't go very well. Yeah.
Yeah, I was curious, as I read your bio, right? You have been at this a while now with IFS and using it in different ways. And I'm curious what this moment is for you in your professional and spiritual service, right? I almost didn't want to read your bio because, like I said, I think of you like this kind of wizard. We can put ourselves in this professional box and it's very useful in certain ways, but also I'm just really curious kind of what you're weaving in the world. What is like the heartbeat of the work that you're currently focused on, if that makes sense?
Well, I would say what's been landing for me recently is that I think like, if we use an analogy that in the center of a circle is like the deep healing arts that have been here for thousands of years. Like, how do we deeply heal ourselves? How do we reconnect with our lineage? How do we be a whole person? And people have been doing this kind of work for, like I say, thousands of years of like indigenous cultures still have some of these natural arts of healing. And what I've been noticing is that IFS, I feel like even like it was given to Dick Schwartz through guides and things like that, that it's really here for us to tap into that kind of world. Like it's a doorway for the Western mind to do true healing. And so what I've been noticing is this, like, am I doing IFS? Are we getting into ancestral healing, shamanism? Like it all feels like we're merging into these spaces. So when I say the mystical side of IFS, for me, that's really what it means, that like learning the steps of IFS is really helpful to learn how to ride the bike. But once you start riding the bike, you just feel free and you're gliding along and doing your thing. And I feel that where IFS is taking me now is more into not just cleansing and healing our parts and being in relationship with them, but cleansing our whole system, about connecting to our ancestors, about, how do you use your body to release things? Does everything have to have a name that's released? Can it, so many things for me, I'm noticing are releasing out of the system, not just through our parts. So I feel like, it's like, I was even thinking about this morning. How I remember when I first learned IFS, I was so like, these are the steps. And I would watch somebody do a demo and go, why are you skipping the steps? You're not even doing it right. You're supposed to be teaching, and now I'm like, I get it. It's like you learn the dance by learning the steps. But once you feel comfortable in the dance, you don't think about the steps anymore and you just flow and you dance. And so I really feel like that has taken me into a more spiritual space with IFS, and also leading retreats. I just did a parenting retreat, which felt like to me like a medicine journey. Like we did all kinds of beautiful deep healing. We're using movement, we're using art, but all of it was our parts expressing through art, through movement, getting to know our system, getting to know our legacy material. So I really think doing more and more retreats feels wonderful to me.
Yeah.
As a practitioner, I can't be a lead trainer. I was approached back in 2019 to be one, but not being a licensed therapist, I can't actually be a trainer.
Yes.
Filling that bucket for myself is that I could do these retreats and really have the freedom to teach whatever I want. And being in the education world for so long, I've given thousands of workshops even before I found IFS. Like I've been training teachers all over the country for years and giving workshops on how do you run classrooms? How do you do these things?
Yeah, you have such a unique blend of tools and skill sets. And I feel like we've talked about this between ourselves, that being in the practitioner box kind of forces us, I think, to wield other creative expressions of this kind of healing modality and art. And I love what you were saying about kind of like all the roads lead to this deeper healing place. And then we get to riff and ride the waves and almost and dance and release. And it makes me think about, to be more unburdened, to use the IFS word, but like to be more liberated in our own healing, right? What does that make us more available for in partnership? Yeah. So when we first thought about doing this episode, I think we texted back and forth, and there was an idea about, what was it? Having your parts allow you to be a team in relationship. And when you texted that, I was like, yes, this sounds good. I don't know exactly what it means, but it sounds good, because my system heard, okay, is the team my inner parts team, or is my team with my partner and their parts? Where is the team, or all of these different teams?
So, and a lot of these things that I'm interested in come out of my work with clients. So it seems like we're just moving into this even as a collective. It seems like we all have been doing work around like this, where it might not be always sticking with just a part, like being like traditional IFS. I'm with a protector, and
Mm-hmm.
then hopefully that protector then steps aside. Then I'm with the exile or another protector that's in polarization. And what
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding is, especially with a partnership and with most things in our life, there's like a whole collection of parts that are here with
Mm-hmm.
different opinions and getting activated. And sometimes it's like a domino effect, like an IFIO, what happens and then what happened, then what happened, then what did you say? And then, and there's these
Mm-hmm.
domino parts. So for me, originally I was thinking like the team within, because there is like a parallel process here. Like I don't know how easy it is for my parts to let me be in the lead until there's enough unburdening for them to really see me, right? Because these burdens are kind of like keep us in a cave and it's dark and all these boulders have blocked the mouth of the cave and there's not much light. And then as we do this work, we take one rock away at a time, each burden, or each redo, each coming up with another roll until all of a sudden light starts peering through. And it's like, oh, now we can breathe. Now we have more light and we can
Mm-hmm.
function better. So somewhere in that mix, there's this self-led time where they can see like who's been doing all that excavating and helping. It's been this person here.
Mm-hmm.
And parts are always watching, right? Like you work with one part, the parts are watching you.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it really mean to be a leader? It's like you're somebody who's trusted. And like when you show up, people's systems relax. Like, oh, you're a true leader. We believe in you. And if you say, hey, can we try this? We're willing to take a risk with you because you're somebody we choose to follow. Like there's no leader without somebody saying, I'll follow you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
There's followership. And our parts are kind of like, in some ways, wanting to follow. But a true leader doesn't always stand out front. Like in my mind, what I'm getting to here is a true leader says, I want to be part of your circle.
Mm.
So what if I say to my parts, can you give me enough space to be part of the circle? Which
Mm.
means all of you have your roles. Of course, I need you to participate. Because if you go to Richard Schwartz's analogy that self is a conductor and the parts are the players, and eventually we help all these parts play in harmony.
Mm-hmm.
But without the parts, it would just be a conductor waving their wand with no music, right?
Right.
So as a team, I could say, I want to be a part of this team and I want you to let me share my wisdom with you, share my heart with you so that this goes well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not asking my parts to like, all of you get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And it just needs to be self with my partner.
Right.
Like, how do I help my intellectual part? How do I help my teaching part? Like my teaching part has to take over a lot in relationship when I'm
Mm.
not here because it thinks if I teach my wife stuff, she'll listen to me,
Oh, I'm
right?
sure no one will relate to that.
And
Yeah.
she really loves the teacher part.
Oh,
Not,
right.
right?
Right. No,
It's like,
no. Yeah.
shut up,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So, but when I'm here, it's more like, wow, honey, I just had an insight. Is it
Mm.
okay if I share?
Mm. So you can
And then
say the same thing in two
with her
different ways.
consent, when
Right.
I get consent,
Mm-hmm.
my teaching part can come in with a lot more self energy. Like it's not trying to convince
Mm.
you of something. Now it just wants to share something.
Mm.
Because
I
self
love
is just
that.
sitting there supporting this part, right? Like who likes to teach? Who's talking right now? Like it's me. Self is there's like a lot of self here,
Mm-hmm.
but my teaching part knows how to say all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's
so
Yeah, it's so subtle, the difference, but it's profound, right? That you can say, hey, let me tell you how to fix that thing you're doing versus, hey, I just had an insight. Are you open to hearing what I'm noticing? Right? It's just like it requires a certain amount of awareness to be able to do that or slowing down. I mean, I don't know about you, but I can do both of these things on any given day still, right?
uh-huh,
These parts can jump in the driver's seat and like without even thinking, speak a certain way to my partner or yeah,
uh-huh,
or I can be slowed down enough and centered enough to say, "Oh, I'm just noticing this thing."
uh-huh.
Yeah. I wonder, do you experience both sides of the coin in your partnerships, or have you in the history of Seth being in relationship experienced, I guess what we're pointing at is more like of the blended system versus a little bit more spaciousness?
Within myself or with my partner.
Well, both.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I could say most of my life, my own system, I think with relationships has been a blended. type of experience and a lot of self-like parts who are
Mhm.
like, I'm really sensitive and I know a lot about attunement and underneath, therefore you should do what I want.
Yeah.
So like these parts really like know how to play the game about being
Mhm.
a sensitive partner, about attuning,
Mm.
because really there's like young parts of me that need a certain type of attunement. And these teaching parts and these self-like parts think that if I act this way, it's
Mhm.
going to guarantee that. And
Right.
then when it doesn't happen, of
Yeah.
course, like angry parts who come on, like I've invested all this time and patience and there's actually a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy, Daniel
Mm.
Glover, which I find out later, one of his motivation is helping guys like date and things like that, which isn't some of his stuff is a little not what I would promote,
Mhm.
but this idea that he shared that we can have these unspoken contracts.
Mhm.
So for me, I was having all these contracts that my partner knew nothing about. Like if I treat
Mhm.
you this way,
Mhm.
you will love me the way I need.
Mhm.
And when you
Mhm.
break that contract, parts get really angry.
Mhm.
But then I found out I'm doing this thing without even getting agreement. Like there's no contract. Like they don't even know they're signing a contract.
Right.
They're not even signing a contract. So
Right.
it really creates so now that I've done all this internal work and other things, I find it's really simple to say, one, getting consent. Are you open to talking? Because I think
Mhm.
so often we just blurt things when the person's not even in a space to even hear or talk.
So often, yes.
And to say, like, wow, I'm really noticing either I have a need or these parts have a need for X. And I notice in my world, when this happens and this happens, I feel like I'm like lost or alone
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
find talking like that is just way more honest.
Mhm.
There's no contracts.
Right.
And my partner goes, oh, that's what you need. Thanks for, or just even thanks for updating me about who you are.
Right. Yes. I've been saying this lately, like I call it like speaking from my center, like speaking from that truth within. And that what did you call it? I'm almost hearing it as like a secret agenda, right?
Yeah,
Like a
the
part,
culture.
right? We know these parts are always trying to get to the positive intention for
Mhm.
ourselves to for connection often. And there's just this secret agenda. But the second we hear the agenda and we notice the agenda, it kind of breaks the it's not as effective anymore, right? Once we see it and we can admit
Mhm.
it to ourselves and then maybe admit it to our partners, kind of starts to
Mhm.
loosen its grip.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll just say on the flip side, especially being an IFS person, we are keen. I mean, everybody has parts detectors, and that's why parts
Mhm.
beget parts. Like when your partner talks to you from a part, that's why you feel defensive.
Mm,
Even if they're saying something in a very sweet voice and you cringe, it means that they're speaking from a part 99% of the time and we're having a reaction. And then
mhm,
when somebody finally does find how do you speak from this heart space, self led place, it's just like, oh my gosh, now my parts are getting everything they've always wanted, which is like attunement, sensitivity. Like I'm here to contribute, maybe not to me or to you, but to this, even to this we space.
mhm.
Right. Like I care about us enough that I want to really connect with you and really I mean, that's why I can't speak for everybody on the call here, but like why I got married is because I want to feel connected. I want to
Yeah.
feel loved. I want to feel like there's a we.
Yes. Yes. I think a lot of people would echo that. Yeah. And so this team thing,
Well,
the team within. So getting just enough space from our parts so that they can know that we're there with them, that there's maybe a little bit of safety there in the interaction. That can be hard to do in the moment, right?
really hard in the moment.
Right. I feel so often I'm like working with people about expectations of how they should expect to behave in a moment, right? That you can just flip and unblend. And, sometimes I can do it now, but for a long time, and still sometimes
Right,
I
right,
can't.
right, right.
That's a tall order.
Uh, I do find that I just had a client and I suggested it's like a prep work before the talk is easier,
Mm,
right? Because in the moment, if we're talking and I'm activated, it's much harder to like, how do I find who this is and what's happening and talk to the same person? Like, that's a lot of cognitive even skill to be able to talk to somebody and notice my own system.
Yeah.
But if I know I'm going to ask, can we have a conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Or even if I'm like, okay, my partner's coming home any minute now and I'm feeling like activated and something's happening, taking that time alone to
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, everybody. And sometimes we don't even have to go. So another team approach is like, I can make an announcement just to my system. I don't have to go, hey, this part, you part, this part, map everybody. Like everybody's like, how do I keep track of all these parts? It's more like if you're the teacher and there's a classroom of children, you could say to the class,
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, everybody,
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering first, even right now, could everybody take a breath and give me just enough space so I'm here too?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there is this magical thing of when self does show up, it's like this, like they give space for you, but when you show up, something happens to their system, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
now there's a trusted leader present. They don't have to be scared. They don't have to do all the talking. They don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be the one responsible, like a 5-year-old that's going to talk to their spouse or their
Mm-hmm.
partner. Like, what if I could be the one? And I will say earlier, I said like it's like my teaching part talking, and that's not exactly true because my self energy can embody me just like a part can. So if I'm blended by a part, my part's using my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like when I'm really self led, my self energy is using my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm embodying it, I'm blending with my self energy.
Mm.
So I can, in that space with my parts, I can say to them, like, how can self energy talk? It's because I'm embodying this. And I can say to them, I'm the most mature person in the room. I'm the oldest. Like, I'm the older brother. I'm the dad. I'm the teacher, whatever resonates for your parts. And I want to be the one to stand up for you and talk. And their systems start to, because all of these parts also have parts and self energy, and they're all like, if this is 11-year-old over here, when I was 11, I had parts. And, so, so the parts of this 11-year-old can soften. And now all my parts are softened. And then there's this other cool effect because when they soften, then the whole system self energy starts growing.
Mm.
So then when my partner walks in the room, I'm already primed as a part of this team. And we're all here in much more self energy together to say, we want to share something.
Mm.
Or even to say, I want you to understand my world. I don't need you to change.
This is tricky because sometimes parts have an experience of or people have an experience of their partner that they often show up in this part, right? And so maybe you're that partner who always cuts people off or something like that. And then you come in and you're like, okay, I'm going to be more self-led. I'm not going to do that thing, but they're expecting you to be that, right? It's hard maybe sometimes, even if you can unblend, for people to get on board, for your family to realize, oh, this is actually Seth in the house and not the
Right.
self-like part of Seth who has a secret agenda.
There is, when we have this enough self-energy, we also could have patience and persistence and resilience. So if that happened, stealing from the imago world, I might say, well, the story I'm telling myself is that you're expecting me to be like I was a month ago or before I've done all this work, or you might be expecting me to even to tell you what to do, or I'm kind of noticing, is that right? Can you tell me, is that right?
Right.
And if that's right, would it be okay I just want you to know that I'm actually here. And I not just want to talk, but I want to listen. I want to hear you. I want to know your world too.
Yeah. It's
And would
so
it be
different.
okay if I share a little bit about me and then I'd want to hear about you too?
It's so mature. It's so mature. And it's such an invitation, right? And it's an invitation to come into my world and to, right, just stay curious about our partner instead of saying, I see you judging me like I was last week and I'm a different person, and catch up, right?
Mhm.
It's just so
Yeah, because
different.
even as you said that, I could feel like my system like tightening. Oh, now I have to, how do I battle that?
Oh my
Right?
gosh.
Like this is like a video game. Like how do I what's my move?
I have to tell you, I was just in a level 2, and I got to do a demo, like as a couple. Mary Kruger was doing a couples therapy, and I got to do a demo, and I was like the addict partner in the couple. And it got so real, and I got to embody all of these like harsh qualities. And I think we were all kind of traumatized by the demo. It took a while to shake it off, right?
Yeah.
Because the experience of, of being on the receiving end of parts that are just trying so hard to create change or get a need met or defend themselves. It's so painful to be in that loop.
Yeah.
And I
It
really
really is.
appreciate you slowing down and embodying that mature
Right.
kind of language. I feel like it takes people, it's taken me, a decade to find my way into a different way of language. Just
Mhm.
like, how do I say it? Can someone
Yeah.
write the script?
I guess I want to say too, like what I described is me on my best day, right? So in between those best days, I'll have
Yeah.
times where an angry part takes over my mouth and
Uh-huh.
says really stupid things. And then that'll inspire my partner's angry part. And then we could be angry at each other. And then afterwards, we're both like, what just happened? And it could take a couple days to like
Ugh,
find our way again and find our balance again.
yeah.
And so one thing that has come into my life this last year or two, because I've also been doing like Akashic Records. And
Mm.
what I've been finding with that is I never knew what grace was until I've
Mm.
been working in the records. And there's something about allowing some grace to come in, like, oh my God, can I have grace for myself that
Mm.
I lost it and I let my angry part, I didn't even have control. My angry part just took over.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm a bad person. Like, how can I have grace with myself? And how can I have grace with my partner that if I could lose it, they could lose it? And we weren't even talking to each other.
Mhm.
We were, our angry parts were having a thing while we
Mm.
were like in a coma,
Mhm.
right? So like
Yeah.
so adding some grace to those moments has been really helpful for me.
I feel like that word can be so kind of amorphous but really just like cutting some slack, like keeping it in perspective,
Mhm,
there's compassion in that grace and
mhm,
protecting from potential shame spirals or
right,
reinforcing like kind of it almost, in a way, it's not exactly, but helps put a pause, right, on things
mhm.
from continuing.
Yeah, and it's to me, when I'm thinking about grace, it feels like a variation of self-energy
Mm.
that has a lot of compassion, and I think it has some forgiveness mixed in. And one
Mm.
thing I've learned about forgiveness recently is it's
Okay,
not
tell us about forgiveness. We need more forgiveness. Tell us about
like,
that.
it's not like you're off the hook for doing a bad deed to me,
Mhm.
but the charge of my reaction has shifted. Like, when I've done some forgiveness around my mom for creating all these burdens that I have and all this lack of attunement, there were parts who were seething at her. There were parts that like, there's poison running through my system of negative energy
Yeah.
towards her
Yeah, yeah.
and, like, resentment, anger that's not really tied to something that's
Mhm.
helpful,
Mhm.
all these different things. And then, so by what I've learned is that forgiveness means I'm willing to let that go, the
Mm.
poison, the charge.
Mhm. Mhm.
So if I can't forgive myself, I'm a horrible person for screaming at my partner. I'm a piece of crap. That kind of stuff is like, "Ooh, wait, what if I can hold myself responsible?" Like you can't do that. You can't just like go off on people.
Mhm.
And what if I release the charge of I'm like a horrible person and I'm
Mhm.
vile, I'm
Mhm.
or she's vile for doing that to me too.
Mhm.
But still say I hold a boundary with you. Like,
Mhm.
or even somebody that I don't want in my life, I can still keep them out of my life. And the forgiveness is I don't carry poison in me about you anymore.
Yeah.
But for my parts, you don't get to interface with me.
Right, right.
Because I'm not gonna let you cause me more harm, but I'm
Right,
not holding resentment towards you or wishing you any ill will,
right.
but I can hold
Yeah.
about I can remember that this is how you are to me.
Yeah, I feel like it's a process to be able to let go of that sometimes, because sometimes there's like a juice in the resentment and like being mad and righteous about something. And sometimes there's just like so much pain there and disappointment or
Mhm.
whatever that
And I don't know about you, has it ever helped, the juice? Like, does it
the
ever lead to
juice.
something powerful?
I feel like for me, right, that when I've been like, as I've gotten weller over the years, right, like long time ago, that my nervous system was so ratcheted up that it just felt like normal, right? It just felt familiar to be in that state. But then the
Right.
more my body got well, the more my heart started, like, before my mind really before my heart, right? I could start to see the patterns and hear the parts and all the things that at some point, yeah, it's just like, why am I
Mhm.
gotta just let this
Right,
go.
right. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess I could see, like, the juice helping with, like, I'm going to step in my own power now. Forget this person. They can't control me anymore.
Yeah. No, I don't think it really helps, but
But in the end, I think when we really dissect it, it's like those are helpful parts, but I haven't really stepped into my power yet until I
Mhm.
kind of release
Mhm.
a lot of the burdens that I carry. Then there's my true power. Um,
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. This is
Yeah.
not really well formed for me yet, but
Right, right. Well, it's making me think about going first in relationships. It's making me think about like, okay, so if I l- forgive and let go first, like maybe even before the other person has made a repair, right? Like that, I don't know. It's a hard sell for myself, for a lot of people to want to go first. I feel like,
uh,
they really, and I think a lot of us are trying to heal our like parental wounds, right? With like,
right.
where were these parents that, you know,
Uh,
they didn't have the skills, like, right? This information was
uh,
not available in prior generations. We're so lucky to have so much the progression of emotional intelligence and all of this attunement, but going first is a hard sell. And what you're kind of pointing out with forgiveness, right? It's actually for us. It's actually not to forgive them. It's actually for our own sanity and our own peace.
uh-huh.
And just thinking, I'm kind of wrapping back around to that you were saying, about sitting with our parts, maybe before we're about to have the conversation, and folks who maybe don't want to always be the leader in the don't always want to
Uh,
have to be the one leading in
yeah,
self, right? There's a
right,
part, right? There's a part there that
for sure.
doesn't want
And
that.
I heard you say, like, I don't wanna go first, and you mentioned, like, my parents didn't
Yeah,
something about them not knowing, so I can
yeah,
imagine, like, your
yeah.
system, what I'm hearing, you can tell
Right,
me if I'm
right.
wrong, is
Yeah,
like
you're getting it. You caught some of my
like,
parts
based
there. Yeah.
on my system and my experience, going first is painful because that's how I've always had to do it, and I don't there's, like our parts are like, "Never again." We don't need that. We don't wanna keep being like, this responsibility is like boulders hanging on me. It's not
Mhm,
helpful.
mhm, mhm.
And to notice this and to say to our partner, I just want you to know that I want to share something in my world. This because I'm a you're a therapist and I mean you're a practitioner and um you do this thing and you have these skills, which means I kind of know how to go first.
Mhm,
But I
mhm.
want you to know in my world, if I always go first, it really activates things in my past around my parents not knowing how to lead and I'm always the one responsible for things and like I don't want to always be the one responsible for this relationship. So it would really help me if you would also lead.
Yes, yes, yes. Some of this thank you. Some of this, I love you just like, I mean, asking for what we need, right? Like being able to articulate it with, again, just like maturity and clarity and directness and having sat with those parts so that we understand where these needs are coming from is so helpful. And some of this is mine, but also some of this that I'm just kind of speaking for is just a pattern that I see amongst my clients.
Or they feel like they're always going first.
Just there's a desire to be met by the
Mhm,
other person. There's
mhm.
just like a real and, or wanting the
Yeah.
partner, yeah, to be able to do it the way, and this is right, maybe it, like to be able to do it the way I would do it, right?
Mhm.
And
And not
people
have
do
to
it different.
labor, like, I hear that too, like, I don't wanna have to be
Yeah,
the one to work, like, there's that
right,
feeling of, if I don't start our conversation, is it gonna happen?
right. That.
Uh,
Yes.
and if I'm starting the conversation, it means I'm invested in our relationship,
Mhm. Mhm.
so if my parts are watching you, and if you're
Mhm.
not doing that, how invested are you? Or
Mhm.
how are you really relying on me to carry the load of our relationship
Mhm.
conversations?
Mhm.
So that's why sharing these things are so important and I think having conversations that have even a time limit could be really helpful
Mm.
because that is something I've also learned in Imago. Sorry to keep pushing Imago, but
Yeah, Imago's a
uh,
great structure. It's such a solid structure.
just to know, I could say like being in a in a male body, um, we're probably more our legacy material and we're socially conditioned to like not want to have long conversations about feelings.
Tell me about that. Tell me about that. Yes.
I mean, it just seems common. I don't want to. like,
I
be
know,
stereotypical
generalize.
about gender, but
I got a
what I
husband.
noticed
I
with
think he would agree.
a lot
Yeah.
of my clients, there's like the patriarchy doesn't just hurt women,
Mhm.
it also hurts men. It
Yeah.
tells men, and I'm not saying it hurts men worse, believe me, it hurts women way worse. But the consequence to a young man who's growing up in this world is like, you be strong,
Mhm.
you take charge,
Mhm.
feelings are worthless,
Mhm.
all these kinds of things. Like, what
Mhm.
does it mean to be a man? So
Mhm.
to say, what if we each talk for 5 minutes? Like from that perspective, I think it helps people that aren't used to talking about feelings to
Yeah.
know I only have to, for their parts, I only have to endure this
Mhm.
for like 5 minutes for you, 5 minutes for me. But I'm
Mhm.
quite amazed what can happen when my
Mm.
job is to listen to you and tell you what I heard. That's part of Imago as well. Like when you
Mhm.
tell me and I have to reflect back, mirror back. So
Mhm.
you're telling me this, and I have to use your words and
Mm.
then kind of like, did I get that right? And if not, help me. And now I
Yeah.
get a chance to share my world. And then when it's
Yeah.
done, you don't get to talk about it. So it's
Mm.
like this thing doesn't last all night.
Yeah.
Like you get this bit about me and I can think later, what else do I want you to know about me?
Mm.
And it's weird. I thought there's no way that's gonna happen. Like we're gonna do it, then we're just gonna be pissed off at each other, or we're gonna keep the conversation going.
Mhm.
And what I find is it really gives our parts permission to like let me talk and
Mhm.
notice that we can have like this kind of multifaceted relationship. Like we could actually have hard conversations
Mm.
and then we can go back to hanging out and making dinner or like going off to work in the workshop while you go off and do your thing or
I
like
love that.
it could just be a thing that just happens and then
Right.
we get to know about each other like oh what happens for me in those moments is like when you tell me what was happening for you in your world during that thing that happened I'm like I thought you were just mad at me like I
Mm.
saw your face and I saw discomfort. I interpret that you're being mad at me, and my
Mhm.
parts wanted to lash out at you for being mad
Mhm.
at me. And when you told me what was really happening for you, you were feeling uncomfortable, sad, and anxious. And I realized now I was misinterpreting what was in your face.
Mhm.
And now, next time, I'm actually like, is she mad?
Mhm.
Like my parts think she's mad, but
Mhm.
let me just
Check in. Yeah.
let me check.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
that willingness to check
Yeah.
slows my whole system down.
This is how we unravel these pieces. All of these communicate in so many ways. The glance of an eye, a moment of silence.
Mhm.
So much can happen at lightning speed in these brains, bodies.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
So in some ways, we can use a method like Imago, but we're really
Mhm.
still talking for our parts.
Mhm.
So when we
Right.
teach something about our world, it needs to be self-talking,
Right.
not the hurt talking.
Right, right. Which, yeah. And when I think about self talking, right, and think about self speaking for those parts, it feels like for some of us, maybe it's again, like one of these kind of amorphous things. Like, what does that mean? Self, I'm
Mhm.
inviting self in. It's going to speak through my
Right.
mouth. Like, am I channeling? Am I, in a way, right? You kind of are,
Mhm.
hopefully. Or what is it? How does it in your kind of energy
Yeah.
body world? How do you
Well,
good?
for one thing, I could say it works just as well for me to say I versus a part of me,
Mhm.
but it's more the affect.
Mhm.
So, Thich Nhat Hanh was a Vietnamese Buddhist who passed. And in my 20s, I read a book called Being Peace, where he said love is the same, very similar to understanding, like wanting to
Mm.
know, wanting to understand versus
Yeah.
knowing. Like if I know something about you, it's bias usually. But
Mm.
if I just want to understand you, I'm like listening. So
Fresh, emergent.
yeah, and there's somebody from the Imago world who wrote a poem or a statement that's, and I don't know the name. I'm sorry that being understood and feeling loved is almost indistinguishable. Like the
Mm.
feeling of it, it's like so close.
Mhm.
So what I really want is for you to understand me, because I mean,
Mhm.
ultimately, I think we all just want to feel loved. We're yelling at each other
Right.
because I just want you to love me the way I need to be loved.
Right.
Right. So if I could slow down and embody, so what does it mean to speak for your parts or embody self energy? It
Mhm.
means I'm being careful and slow enough because I really want you to understand. So I want to say it in a way that you can hear it, not just a way that I could just spit it out of my system and get it out of me and land on you like tar.
Yeah.
I want to like be intentional that my heart is open. Like, is my heart open? Like, that's one way to find out if I'm in this self thing. Like,
Mhm.
am I talking from my head or am I talking from my heart?
Mhm.
How is your body even reacting to me right now? Are you tense? Are you like bracing yourself? Like, ooh, let me check my energy.
Mhm.
Do I have an agenda? Am I urgent? Do I
Mhm.
have to make you understand so you change? All
Mhm.
these feelings, like, what if we could say, I really just want you to understand me. And I'm going to say it in a way that you can.
Mhm.
So everybody may have a different flavor for that, but for me, it's much slower.
Mhm.
I might be telling you about how I feel,
Mhm.
which is similar to talking about my parts. So get overloaded. Like a simple thing might be like, I don't know about you, but for us, we often get into stuff when we drive.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah, driving's great.
so for me, what
I'm the
really happens
worst.
is I'm trying to concentrate on the road. Most of the time when I'm alone, I'm not talking to anybody. And I
Uh-huh.
really feel like for me, I like to just focus on the road because I like my car. I don't want it to be crunched. I don't want people to get hurt.
Mhm.
I'm not like scared to drive, but I like having my focus on what's
Mm.
happening out there.
Mhm.
And I've even seen studies that show talking in the cars, if you're on the phone on a course, it's not too different than drunk driving. Like you're
Mm.
not that aware of
Mhm.
how you're driving when you're in the middle of a deep conversation.
Mhm.
So I find myself getting overwhelmed when there's talking. And so, having a conversation to say, I just want to help you understand what goes on in my body when we're
Mhm.
driving,
Mhm.
when you're trying to tell me a story about work, or when you're trying to help figure out something we need to do for the kids, or whatever it may be. I often find myself like shutting down or maybe getting irritable. At first, I
Mhm.
want to apologize that I never knew I could just tell you about
Mm.
this. So
Mm.
I'm sorry that I've been lashing out or getting cold or whatever I do.
Mhm.
But I just want you to know what happens for me is I get overwhelmed.
Mm.
Like I'm trying to focus on the road. And when there's inputs, I can almost feel a little dizzy. Like, whoa, there's like so much happening right now.
Mhm.
So I think for me, it would help if I could just focus, or I could even tell you when I need it. Like, is there a way for me to say, okay, now it's okay to talk, but in this little driving moment, is there a way for me to pause us? Or
Mhm.
so let's work to, so it's not so much like you're a bad person for talking to me in the car and you're so annoying. It's
Right.
more like, I want you to know about me.
Here's my experience. Yep.
As I love you, I want
Yeah.
you to understand me and not feel like I'm a jerk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And I feel like, again, I'm coming back to this thing because I deal with it so often. It's like, both people want to be understood. Who goes first? And I
Mm,
always say, whoever can go first, right? Whoever can speak in the spirit of being understood, or whoever has the generosity or spaciousness to
mhm,
listen in the spirit of understanding
mhm.
it's just like
That's
1%, whoever has 1% more
right.
capacity. And maybe now's not the right moment, but yeah,
And
yeah.
asking is really helpful. Like, is
Asking.
this a good time?
Okay, folks, he's talking consent. He's throwing consent down. Conversational consent.
It's so, yeah, because like otherwise, like I'm just assuming you're ready and I'm setting
Right.
us up both for failure. Because
Right.
if you're not,
It always, yeah, so
I'm going to feel
often
hurt for not
goes
being
sideways.
heard.
Yeah.
You're going to feel like bombarded by a conversation that you're not even ready for.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're doing like communication strategies here.
Hmm.
Consent. I love this piece around like the time limit and what that actually provides, that like containment for the challenging conversation. Really, asking really the awareness of those parts beforehand and the self energy and how to connect with that. And maybe we'll do a little meditation here at the end to connect with self energy a little bit. What else? What other pieces of this
I guess I'll say
conversation?
that
Yeah.
in some ways, I'm kind of like, so if I was having counsel with my group,
Mm-hmm.
as you were saying that, what I imagined me wanting to say to my team
Mm.
is, wouldn't it be amazing if we could get what we really need from our partner? How would you all feel about that?
Okay.
And what if you let me talk so that could happen?
Okay.
So I am thinking about all your needs. I'm thinking about all your desires.
Right.
If you guys, and I'm not going to say this maybe out loud, but I know if you all talk,
Right.
it always seems to go the opposite of what we need. Like I'm
Right.
yelling at you about wanting to be attuned, or why don't you treat me with respect, or why don't you? It just brings
Mhm.
up shame in the other person. They have to like push you away because you're
Mhm.
bringing up shame, and that's the worst feeling possible. So I'm going to slam you down verbally, or I'm going to run away,
Mhm.
right? But
Mhm.
if we to tell our parts, like I'm going to help you get what you want.
Mhm. Yeah.
And if I can talk softly and gently so that my partner's system doesn't get activated,
Right.
there's way more likelihood. So I'm asking you all, can you let me please be the one
Mhm.
to speak?
Yeah, and my system, I have, like, a little objection part that's like, "And if my partner can't give us the thing we want," right? That, we'll try again another time,
Yeah.
or, like, the grace piece or persistence,
Yeah.
right? Like
Well, I will say to that, I can almost guarantee if it's going to happen, me talking is the path.
mhm,
There's a chance that the person is incapable in their current state.
mhm,
No one's incapable for real because everybody has this power, but
yeah,
they've been conditioned and been hurt enough
yeah,
that they can't access. They're still in the cave with all the rocks. The light's not shining enough through for them to be
mm,
able to do this
mhm,
sometimes.
mhm,
But there is a magical thing that happens that sometimes when there's enough of me here, that those
mhm,
rocks somehow dissolve momentarily and this person there's nothing to fight. I'm not giving
yeah,
you anything to fight me with. I'm not giving anything to hurt you with.
right,
And that might be new for people. They might have to like experience that number of times to trust, like, well, you sound like you're safe, but when's the shot gonna come?
right,
So it might take number of times, number of times, number of times. I mean,
right,
same with our parts. They don't even trust self often
mhm,
right away. We have to show up enough times.
right. Yeah, it is a practice.
It's a practice.
It's a practice. It's a lifestyle practice, truly.
And I guess that one more thing's coming is even if say if that all been said and my partner, I say the thing and they just like go, I can't do this right now and get up and leave. Like how crushing is that, right?
Mm.
But if my parts are giving me that space, then hopefully I can attend to them.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
And I guess that's maybe the fringe benefit that if even if it doesn't go perfectly, there's still the leader here to look at each other, all these ones and all their little eyes, their lips quivering, like, "Whoa, what just happened?" And
Yeah.
the ones wanting to start a fire and start throwing fireballs, you know, like,
Mhm.
yeah, guys, I get it.
Yeah.
And just to do the reflection, be the one in the mirror, like, I hear all of you, that you feel angry, you feel
Mhm.
hurt, and I get it. And
Right.
that's why sometimes people do uncouple because you might say to your parts, this person isn't going to be able to do it for us. So what do y'all
Mm.
think? Is this
Mhm.
something we continue?
Mhm. Mhm.
That's a really hard thing.
It is.
But
It
they're
is.
looking at you. Are you going to lead them through that?
Right. Right. And that's the biggest shift, right? Is from looking at the partner to saying, like, okay, I'm going to try to be the force of self, the force of change, the force of spaciousness and presence. Instead of waiting for them to do it, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try my damnedest first and see what happens. Cause maybe that does unlock something for our partner to find their
Mhm.
own, flow,
Yeah.
and also sometimes not. That does happen. It does.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. And so before we go, I would love to hear, because this unblending is so central to relationship work. If there's any strategies other than all of the strategies you have shared today that you love, either in the moment or out of the moment.
Yeah. So my easiest unblending is to quickly notice, am I coming more from above my shoulders or below? So like,
Mm,
am I operating from my head or my heart? Or even to check how open is my heart?
hmm
Because something about that for me kind of triggers me to like drop in.
hmm
I also have a lot of experience doing that, so maybe that's easy for me.
hmm
And so in the past, sometimes I would, the traditional method of unblending is to notice what I'm feeling and asking those feelings or parts, can you give me, and I like the phrase, can you give me just enough space so I'm here too?
mm,
I think that's a really great unblending question to your system, because everybody says, can you give me space, can you give me space? For a lot of people that's like abandonment, like get away
Mm,
from me, like I don't want you here. So if I say, I'm not asking any of you to leave, just can you allow me just enough space, so at least there's a lot of me, if not all of me, to be here.
I love that.
Checking if I'm curious, if my heart is open, checking to see if I'm pushing something. So the one who's checking often has more self energy. If it's not self, it's close to it.
Right.
But I think the quick unblending for me is to check the heart. When I first started, I'm kind of a spiritual minded person. I would imagine like a glowing yellow, kind of like the color of my walls, orb in my chest. Because I feel
Mm,
like self energy for me kind of originates in the heart.
mm,
And I would just imagine this orb just kind of being here, and then all of a sudden my whole body would start to relax, my
mm,
parts would start to relax because they get like kind of love bombed by by this light.
mm.
And I can say, if you realize I can't do that right now,
Yeah.
there's
Tell me about
one
that.
really great hack.
Tell us.
Keep your mouth closed. Don't say the thing. Just don't.
Mm.
And it's hard. It's so hard. Like, especially with parenting, that
Yeah.
has helped me more than anything else. Just when I feel like I have to say that thing because you need to blank, blank,
Mhm. Mm.
wait. Because it's almost like, think of the things we say are arrows.
Mhm.
Once you shoot the arrow, you can't get it back.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you want to spend all night doing repairs or realizing it felt right in the moment, but I caused a whole kaleidoscope of hurt? Like,
Yeah.
you can always shoot it later if you have to.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
just pause. Like,
Mm.
wait until you have spaciousness. Like, I've heard, like,
Mhm.
with American Indians, they're like, "Wait 3 days if you're
Mm.
angry with somebody
Mm.
and see if you still feel angry." And I've heard another spiritual leader say, "If you're angry after 3 days, it's something you have to work with your own system." Like,
Mm.
there's something about this that I'm hooked.
Mhm. Mhm.
And, of course, there's deeds that people can do that is justified to be angry for longer than 3 days.
For sure.
But I guess what I'm saying is, like, just if you can unblend, your life will go better if you just choose to not speak until you feel calm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So that is a skill in itself to practice is zipping it up.
Mhm.
Just waiting until you actually can have just a little bit of relationship to the
Yeah.
feelings. Yeah,
Breathe.
before you
Breathing
yes,
helps during that
breathing.
time.
Mhm,
Holding
mhm.
your breath, it feels anxious, so breathe.
Yeah. Okay, okay. These are great unblending strategies and ideas. What do you wish more people knew about healing or
Uh,
healing in partnership? Yeah.
yeah. Say it's not for the select few. Like everyone has the capacity to
Mm,
heal.
mm,
And I don't care how far you feel like you're far gone, or how far you think your partner's far gone, or your child. Like holding, like we are hope merchants as IFS practitioners.
mhm,
So holding this hope and this knowing everybody has the light, no matter how many rocks are covering the cave,
mhm,
it's there. And so with time and with practice, no one, it's not like a first, like you have to be a certain kind of person,
mhm.
or like, and no one is damned to
Yeah,
be in pain the rest of their life.
yeah.
Like, you can heal.
Yeah. Thank you. I love that. Thank you. Okay. Here's another one for you while we're doing this is like
Mhm.
the hot seat moment,
Okay.
right? If you could go back in time to any version of yourself in the past and whisper a little piece of relationship wisdom, what would you say?
Well, a couple parts jumped in right away about who I like, don't do it, don't walk away, run, run. So I gotta like ask those parts of stuff aside. But
Right.
all those relationships got me to where I am now, and I wouldn't want to change any of what I have. So,
It's certainly harder in some ways to be in a
yeah.
relationship.
But I think it would be like, teach your partner about your world. Like, really
Hmm.
help them understand you. Don't
Oh,
be afraid to say the vulnerable things. Don't try to use strategies to make them change so you get what you need. Like, help them understand you, and then they will naturally, it's way more likely they will naturally do what you need. But telling them what to do, not to do, isn't going to work, and it's just going to cause you more pain.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mm. And being at my age and finally figuring this out, there's definitely parts that are grieving. They're like, damn, we should have known this.
Well, thank you for, we're
Yeah.
standing on each other's shoulders, getting
Yeah.
us there faster. Yeah. Thank you for that. And then before we shift into kind of meditation space, is there anything that you want folks out there to know about where to find you or anything you have going on cooking right now?
Well, my website is simply my name, SethKopald.com. You can get my book there. You can get free videos, free podcasts of me talking about parenting, or there's a couple things on relationships. And I'm planning on doing more and more retreats. So I will be, right now, I don't have a place on my website for those, but if people keep checking, I will be doing more and more
Great.
retreats.
Great. Excellent. Well, we will have an eye out for that. And your book is so user friendly and spacious and helpful for those out there who are wanting to keep learning about IFS and how to embody this self that we're speaking about. And yeah, thanks for being here. Maybe we can talk parenting another time, because I know a lot of the people I support would appreciate that conversation as well.
And in the book, there is a chapter directly about relationships, and then there's a chapter directly about parenting, about work, about spirituality, how we can be self-led, and all those places.
Perfect.
And I do start my relationship chapter saying this is the place where I'm still learning the most. I'm still struggling, but
yeah, we're all in it together, right? Walking each other home. We don't do this alone.
There you go.
Yeah. We've got just a little time here with a little meditation for self. Yeah, if there's anything you want to say about it before, or we can just jump right into it.
Well, basically, the gist of this meditation is that all of our parts, no matter how they act and react, have self-energy, and that could be a resource to you and into your system. So maybe this will help you tap into that. And I think it's also what's hitting me right now is like it's a message to our parts, like you're not just this behavior that you're doing. You're not just the anger. You're not just the critic. Like you're more than that. You're also in a cave.
Hmm.
And you need healing so that you could just be self-led. And when our parts are all self-led, it's a concentration of self-led. And it's just so much easier to be a chill, kind, loving person.
Yes.
Right there.
Yes. Beautiful. Well, shall we do that?
Yeah. So if you feel comfortable closing your eyes or lowering your gaze, make sure as you breathe, maybe it goes into your belly. Just take maybe 2 or 3 cleansing breaths where your belly goes out as you breathe in. And if to start off, what if you just announce to your system, like if you had an intercom, however you want to say it in your system, something to the effect of, hello, I'm here. And if that's hard to even embody, what if you drop into your heart space even more? Almost as if your heart can be the heart uses your voice instead of the mind, and say, from that place, I'm here. You might feel a little tingly happens. And then usually we notice parts in and around our body. So if you just might scan, like I often feel something in my stomach, or feel something in my shoulders, or I might sense them around me, like in my aura or in my energy field. What if you just invite them to just kind of be here in a way that you can sense them? It doesn't even have to be visual, or it doesn't even have to be parts you already know yet, but just to kind of feel a presence. And they might feel it all over your body and all over your field. And then let's start by imagining like you have this light in your chest, like from this heart space, or if you believe it comes from your crown or from your root. It doesn't matter what's right for you. And what if you share that light with these little ones, with the beings around you, in you, the ones that struggle, the ones that hurt, the ones that make sure you're. So we're sending it as a global, like, to all of you. If you don't sense parts, just send some kind of light just throughout your system, knowing the light's going to find its way to these parts. Then when it feels right, what if you invite them to notice they have a light inside? Like maybe they have a little ball in their chest. And you might imagine your system as like stars, like all these parts with little points of light all over your body, all around your body, outside of your body, wherever they are. And what if, as you send them more light, ask them if they're willing to send light your way too? So there's like this kind of flow both ways. Another way to do this is just imagine all your parts in a circle around you, sending you light. If being in the body doesn't resonate with you, just imagine a whole circle of parts and you're standing in the center. Almost like a Tesla ball, like that ball in the center with light coming out and light coming back. And in case you haven't sensed this yet, my belief is that this is love. This light is love. And then maybe you can ask your parts if they'd like to do this more often. And you can make a little date with your system to do this activity, to meditate with them this way. And let them really feel like this is a thing we can return to. And this is in addition to all the healing stuff. We can do all that. We can work with each part. We can unburden, but they're already unbroken, these parts. They might carry burdens, but inside there's this light. And we're here to remind them of that. As a group, as a whole, everyone. And we're going to carry that that torch of hope. So when we feel ready, we could come back to the space you're in.
Thank you so much, Seth.
You're welcome.
I love that one.
Yeah.
I'm so glad to be able to share that with more people.
Yeah, thank you. It's really been nice talking to you.
Yay. I've enjoyed it as well. And thanks so much for being here and just for continuing to let your self energy and your wisdom and your humanity and all of it just carry this conversation forward for everyone who's out there doing the deal of rubber meeting the road parts and other. Yeah.
It's so easy to hang out with you, so I look forward to more.
Yay.
Thank you for all you're doing and for doing this. This is going to be great for you to keep talking to people and spreading what you know and bringing this to the world.
Thank you so much.